They were old, not old like mountains or rivers. They were old like stars. Their species had existed for more than 3 billion years. They had watched galaxies form and die. They had seen thousands of civilizations rise and fall. Their ships, made of living crystal, had traveled to every corner of the known universe. But there was one place they never went, one small blue planet in a quiet corner of the Milky Way galaxy, Earth. On every star map, Earth was marked with a single red symbol. The symbol meant only one thing: do not approach. No ship had gone near Earth for 3 billion years. The elders never explained why. They simply said that some places were better left alone. Commander was young by standards. She was only 800 years old. Her crystal body glowed with a soft blue light, and her mind was filled with curiosity. She commanded a research vessel called the Eternal Memory. Her job was to study new star systems and report her findings to the Council. On this particular day, ship was passing through the Orion arm of the galaxy. They were far from Earth, near the edge of what humans called the Sol system. That was when the signal came. "Commander," said her navigator, "we are receiving a distress call." Was ancient, even by standards. His crystal form had turned dark with age, and he moved slowly. But his mind was sharp, and he knew things that younger had forgotten. "Where is it coming from?" asked. His form flickered with worry. "A research station orbiting Neptune, the fourth planet from the Forbidden World." Felt a chill run through her crystal body. Neptune was close to Earth, too close, but the signal was clear: someone was in trouble. "Play the message," she ordered. A human voice filled the ship. It belonged to a young woman. Her name was, and she was a scientist studying alien life forms. "This is Doctor of the Neptune Research Station. Our systems have failed. Life support is failing. We have maybe 6 hours of air left. Please, if anyone can hear this, we need help." Made her decision quickly, set a course for Neptune. His crystal form turned almost black with fear. "Commander, I must advise against this. The Sol system is forbidden. It has been forbidden since before humans even existed." "A person is going to die," said. "I will not let that happen because of an old rule that no one remembers the reason for." Did not argue further. He was old enough to know that young commanders rarely listen to warnings. He simply entered the coordinates and hoped they would not regret this decision. The journey to Neptune took only a few hours. Ships could bend space itself, traveling distances that would take human ships centuries. When they arrived, they found the research station floating in the darkness. Its lights were flickering and could see that it was badly damaged. They brought aboard quickly. She was small by standards, with black hair and dark eyes. She wore a white coat that was dirty and torn. When she saw her rescuers, she fell to her knees with relief. "Thank you," she said, her voice shaking. "Thank you so much. I thought I was going to die out here." Helped her stand. Human bodies were so fragile, she thought, so soft and temporary. Yet there was something in his eyes that found fascinating, a spark of something that they had lost long ago. "You are safe now," said. "What happened to your station?" Took a deep breath. "We were studying strange signals coming from Earth, from the deep ocean, the trench. The signals were unlike anything we had ever seen. Then 3 days ago our equipment started failing. One by one, every system shut down. It was like something was pushing us away." Who had been silent until now stepped forward. His ancient form creaked as he moved. "You were studying Earth," he said. "It was not a question." Nodded. "Yes, there is something down there, in the deepest part of the ocean. Something that has been sending signals for millions of years, maybe billions. We were trying to understand what it was." Turn 2. His crystal eyes were filled with a fear that the young commander had never seen before. "We must leave this system immediately," he said. "We must leave and never return." "Why?" demanded. "What are you not telling me?" Was silent for a long moment. When he finally spoke, his voice was barely a whisper. 3 billion years ago, when your Earth was still a ball of fire and rock, we came to study it. We were curious just like you. We sent a team of researchers to the surface. What happened to them? Asked. Only one returned, said. She was changed, broken. Her crystal form had cracked and her mind was shattered. She recorded one final message before she died. Waved his hand, and a hologram appeared in the center of the room. It showed a female, her body fractured and dark. Her voice was filled with terror. The planet is not a cradle, the ancient recording said. It is a cage. Something sleeps beneath the surface. Something older than time itself. Do not wake it. Do not ever wake it. The recording ended, and silence filled the ship. Looked at, then at. Her scientific mind was racing with questions. What sleeps beneath Earth? She asked. His crystal form dimmed with something that looked like despair. We do not know, he admitted. We only know that your entire planet is a prison, and whatever is locked inside has been waiting for 3 billion years to be set free. Felt the blood drain from her face. She thought about her colleague, who was still on the Neptune station's backup module, had been the one to discover the signals. She had been the one who wanted to investigate further. And right now, a Korean research ship called the was diving into the trench, searching for the source of those signals. We need to warn them, said. We need to warn everyone. But deep in her heart, she feared it was already too late. The eternal memory drifted at the edge of the Sol system like a ghost. Inside, demanded answers that did not want to give. But the old navigator knew that secrets could not stay buried forever. Some truths had to be told, no matter how terrible they were. Show me everything, commanded. Open the ancient archives. I want to see what happened 3 billion years ago. Hesitated. The ancient archives were sacred. They contained memories so old that most had forgotten they existed. But was the commander, and her word was law on this ship. Very well, said, but I warn you, what you see will change you. It changed all of us. He waved his crystal hand over the central console. The lights in the room dimmed and a hologram appeared. It showed Earth as it had been billions of years ago. The planet was red and orange, covered in fire and molten rock. There were no oceans yet, no life, just endless volcanic destruction. We found Earth when it was young, explained. Our scientists were excited, a new world to study, a new chance to understand how life begins. The hologram changed. It showed ships landing on the burning surface. Crystal figures walked across the lava fields, their bodies protected by ancient technology. But something was wrong, continued. Our instruments detected a presence beneath the surface, something massive, something alive. Watched with wide eyes. Her scientific training told her this was impossible. Nothing could survive beneath a planet's crust. The heat and pressure would destroy any living thing. What did they find? She asked. His form flickered with pain. They found a door. Deep beneath the rock there was a door made of material we could not identify. It was covered in symbols that hurt to look at. Our researchers tried to study it. They tried to understand what it was. The hologram showed the ancient standing before a massive black door. The symbols on its surface seemed to move and twist, even in the recording. One of them touched it, said, just a simple touch, and the door opened just a crack. What came out was not a creature, it was not a monster, it was a thought. A single thought broadcast directly into their minds. What did it say? Asked. Closed his eyes. It said, I see you, I have been waiting. The hologram showed the researchers screaming. Their crystal bodies cracked and shattered. One by one, they fell to the ground, their minds destroyed by something they could not understand. Only one survived, the female from the earlier recording. She ran back to her ship and fled Earth forever. We sealed the Sol system after that, said. We marked Earth as forbidden. We tried to forget what we had found. For 3 billion years we stayed away. His hands were shaking. She thought about her home, her family and soul, her friends and colleagues. All of them lived on top of this thing, this prison. But why, she asked, what is it, what is locked beneath my planet? Before could answer, the ship's communication system activated. A familiar voice filled the room. Are you there? Please tell me you are alive. It was. Her voice was tight with fear and excitement. Ran to the console. I am here, I am safe, the rescued me. Thank God, said. Listen to me carefully. I have been analyzing the data from our research, the signals from the trench. They are not random, they are a language. Something is trying to communicate with us. His crystal form turned dark. This is worse than I thought. There is more, continued. The signals match patterns I found in ancient human records, cave paintings from 40,000 years ago, Aboriginal rock art from Australia, symbols carved in stone by civilizations that died before history began. Humans have been receiving these signals since we first developed consciousness. We have been talking to this thing for tens of thousands of years. Felt dizzy. The implications were too big to process. What are you saying? She asked. I am saying that whatever is down there knows us, said. It has always known us, and I think it has been teaching us, guiding us, shaping us into what we are today. Stepped forward. Her young mind was racing with questions. If this thing has been communicating with humans for so long, why has it stayed hidden? Why has it not escaped? Was silent for a moment. I do not know, but there is something else. Captain and his crew they are diving into the trench right now. They are looking for the source of the signals. They must stop, said. They must turn back immediately. I tried to warn them, said. But the Korean government believes this could be the greatest discovery in human history. They will not listen to me. They think I am being paranoid. Looked at, the commander's crystal face was impossible to read, but could sense her conflict. We have to do something, said. We cannot let them open that door. Shook his ancient head. It may already be too late. The being beneath your world is patient. It has waited 3 billion years. If it has been teaching humanity all this time, then it has a plan, and your people are about to complete it. The hologram of ancient Earth faded away, leaving only darkness. Somewhere far below them, on a small blue planet, Captain guided his submarine deeper into the ocean. He did not know what was waiting for him. He did not know that his species had been created for this moment. He only knew that something was calling to him, something ancient, something powerful. And he could not resist its voice. It was the most advanced submarine ever built by humans. It was designed to go deeper than any vessel before it. Its hull was made of special metals that could survive pressures that would crush ordinary ships like paper. Inside, 4 people sat in the dim blue light of the control room. Captain was a tall man with gray hair and calm eyes. He had spent his entire life exploring the ocean. He had seen things that most people could not imagine, but nothing had prepared him for this mission. How deep are we? He asked. The pilot checked her instruments. She was young, only 28 years old, but she was the best pilot in the Korean Navy. Her hands moved across the controls with confidence. 10 kilometers, she said. We passed the bottom of the trench an hour ago. According to all our maps, we should have hit rock by now, but there is nothing but water below us. This was impossible. The trench was supposed to be 11 kilometers deep at its lowest point. They were already deeper than that, and they were still falling. The signals are getting stronger, said the communications officer. She was a quiet woman with short hair and glasses. Her screen showed wave patterns that pulsed like a heartbeat. Whatever is down there, it knows we are coming. Minyu, the engineer, checked the submarine systems for the 100th time. He was nervous. He had been nervous since they started this mission. Something about this whole thing felt wrong to him. Captain, Minyu said, our instruments are showing some strange readings. The water pressure outside should have crushed us by now, but it is not. It is like something is protecting us. Nodded slowly. He had noticed the same thing. They should not have survived this deep, yet here they were, still falling, still alive. Keep going, he ordered. We came here to find answers. We are not turning back now. The submarine continued its descent. The blue light outside the windows faded to black. They were in a place where no sunlight had ever reached, a place of eternal darkness. And then saw it. Captain, she whispered, look. Through the front window, something appeared in the darkness. At first, thought it was a rock formation, but as they got closer, he realized it was something else entirely. It was a door. The door was massive. It was at least 100 meters tall and 50 meters wide. It was made of a black material that seemed to absorb light. Strange symbols covered its surface, glowing with a faint purple light. The symbols moved and shifted, forming patterns that hurt to look at. My God, breathed, it is real, it is actually real. Stared at the door in silence. Part of him wanted to turn back. Part of him wanted to run away and never return. But a larger part of him felt drawn to it, like he had been waiting his whole life for this moment. Far above them on the ship, watched through a long-range scanner. She could see the floating before the ancient door. She could see the symbols glowing brighter as the submarine approached. They have to stop, she said. Please, someone has to stop them. But there was no way to reach them. The submarine was too deep. Communications could not penetrate that far into the ocean. His voice came through the speaker. She had been analyzing the symbols on the door. I understand now, said. The symbols on the door, they match the patterns in ancient human art, the cave paintings, the rock carvings. Humans have been drawing these symbols for 40,000 years. We have been dreaming about this door since the beginning of our species. What does that mean? Asked. It means we were created for this, said. Whatever is behind that door, it made us. It shaped our minds. It gave us the ability to imagine and create and dream. And it did all of that for one reason, to bring us to this moment. Made his decision. He stood up from his chair and walked toward the airlock. Captain, what are you doing? Asked. I am going outside, said. I am going to touch the door. That is suicide, Minyu protested. The pressure will kill you instantly. Smiled, it was a strange smile, like he knew something they did not. No, he said. It will not, I can feel it, the thing behind the door, it wants me to come. It has been waiting for me, waiting for all of us. Before anyone could stop him, entered the airlock. The door sealed behind him. He pressed the button to flood the chamber with water. The pressure should have killed him. The cold should have frozen him solid, but nothing happened. He felt warm, safe, protected. The outer door opened and swam out into the darkness. He moved toward the ancient door, his body guided by something he did not understand. His hand reached out and touched the black surface. The symbols flared with brilliant light. The door began to open. And then a voice filled his mind. It was not a human voice. It was something older, something vast. It spoke in words that were not words, in thoughts that were not thoughts. Finally, the wardens have come to check on their prisoner. I have been patient. I have taught your kind well. Now let us discuss the terms of my release. The voice echoed through the ocean. It traveled up through the water, through the air, through the emptiness of space. It reached every human on Earth. Every person, no matter where they were, heard the message. And in that moment, humanity learned the truth about their world. Earth was not their home. It was a cage, and they were the children of the thing locked inside. Every human on Earth heard the voice at the same moment. Farmers in their fields stopped working. Children in their schools stopped playing. Doctors in their hospitals stopped healing. For one frozen second, 8 billion people stood completely still, listening to a message from beneath the ocean. The response was chaos. In Seoul, people ran through the streets screaming. In New York, traffic stopped completely as drivers abandoned their cars. In Tokyo, Mumbai, London, and Cairo, The same scene repeated. Fear spread across the planet like fire through dry grass. But something strange happened too. Amidst the panic, many people did not run. They stood still, looking up at the sky, their faces showing not fear but anger. On the ship, watched the chaos through satellite feeds. Her screens showed brain activity patterns from monitoring stations around the world. What she saw made her heart stop. "This is impossible," she whispered. "What do you see?" asked. "The human brain," explained. "When that message came through, it should have destroyed us. The researchers who heard it 3 billion years ago had their minds shattered instantly. But look at these readings." She pointed to the screen. The brain patterns showed something remarkable. Instead of breaking under the mental pressure, human brains had processed the message, filtered it, translated it into something they could understand. "Our minds are designed for this," said. "Our neural structure, the way our brains work, it is specifically built to communicate with this being. We are not just random creatures who evolved on Earth. We were engineered, created, shaped over millions of years to interface with whatever is down there." The ancient navigator nodded slowly. "Now you understand why we feared your world. You are not ordinary life. You are something new, something designed." "But designed for what?" asked. Before anyone could answer, made another discovery. "I am looking at the oldest human DNA records," she said, "comparing them to the signals from the deep. There is a pattern. Human evolution did not happen naturally. There were jumps, sudden changes that should have taken millions of years happening in thousands. Our brains got bigger too fast. Our consciousness developed too quickly. Something was pushing us forward." Understood now. The cave paintings, the ancient myths, the stories of gods and monsters that every human culture shared, they were not imagination. They were memories, memories of communication with the being beneath the earth. "It has been talking to us all along," said, "teaching us, helping us grow, but why?" In the trench floated before the open door. He could see what lay beyond it now. It was not darkness. It was not a prison cell. It was a universe. The being behind the door had not been sitting in chains for 3 billion years. It had been building, creating. Inside the door was an entire cosmos, full of stars and planets and wonders that human minds could barely comprehend. A private universe where the laws of physics obeyed a different master. The voice spoke to him again, gentle this time. "You are my children. I gave you everything, the spark of consciousness, the ability to dream, the power to imagine things that do not exist and then make them real. No other species in this universe can do what you do. You are special because I made you special." "What do you want from us?" asked. "I want you to join me. Come through the door. Leave this dying universe behind. In my realm you can become what you were always meant to be. Gods, creators, equals to the beings who imprisoned me before time began." On the surface of the earth, the panic was beginning to fade. People were not running anymore. They were standing together, talking, arguing, debating. What should they do? What could they do? The watched through their sensors, amazed. Any other species would have been destroyed by fear. Any other civilization would have collapsed. But humans were different. They were angry. They were scared. But they were also thinking. "Turn 2, you have watched 1,000 civilizations," she said. "Have you ever seen anything like this?" His ancient crystal form glowed with something that might have been wonder. "Never," he admitted. "When faced with cosmic horror, most species break. But these humans, they are arguing about what to do next. They are making plans. They are refusing to give up." Had been listening to the conversation between and the being. Her hands were shaking, but her mind was clear. "Captain," she said through the submarine speakers, "ask it something for me." "What?" replied. Thought carefully about her words. This was important. This might be the most important question anyone had ever asked. "If it could open that door by itself," she said, "why did it wait for us? 3 billion years. It could have escaped any time. Why did it need humans to come down there? Relayed the question. The response took a long time to come. When the being finally spoke, its voice was different, quieter, almost uncertain. I did not need you to open the door. The door was never locked from the outside. Then why, pressed? Why create us? Why wait so long? The silence stretched on, and then, watching from space, understood. She understood everything. It is not asking us to free it, she said. It is asking us to forgive it. The being beneath the earth was not a prisoner trying to escape. It was a criminal serving a sentence it had given itself. For 3 billion years it had sat in the dark, alone, thinking about what it had done. And it had created humanity because it wanted something no amount of power could give it. It wanted redemption. It wanted someone to tell it that it could be good again. And now, for the first time in 3 billion years, it was afraid that humanity would say no. The ocean was silent. The world was silent. 8 billion people waited for what would happen next. In the ship was crying, not from fear, from understanding. She finally understood what the being beneath Earth truly was. Show me, she said to. Show me what it did. What crime was so terrible that it imprisoned itself for 3 billion years? Hesitated, but he saw the determination in her eyes. This small human woman, so fragile, so temporary, had more courage than most ever showed. He opened the deepest archives, the oldest memories, records from before the universe had formed. The hologram showed the beginning of everything, before stars, before planets, before time itself had meaning. There were beings then, entities made of pure thought and will. They existed in a realm of infinite possibility where anything they imagined became real. One of these beings was called the architect. The architect was curious, creative, brilliant, but it was also proud. It believed it could build a better reality than the one it shared with its siblings. So it tried. It created universes, destroyed them when they were not perfect, created more, destroyed more. Billions of realities died because of the architect's perfectionism. Countless potential lives never got to exist, all because one being could not accept that imperfection was part of existence. The other primordial entities stopped the architect. They gave it a choice: be destroyed forever or be imprisoned until it learned the value of what it had destroyed. The architect chose imprisonment. It chose a young planet in a quiet corner of a new universe. It sealed itself beneath the surface and began to wait. But waiting was not enough. The architect needed to understand. It needed to see what it had been so willing to destroy. So it created life. It guided evolution. It shaped a species that would embody everything it had failed to appreciate: imperfection, struggle, growth. Humans were not perfect. They fought. They hated. They made terrible mistakes. But they also loved. They created art and music and stories. They helped strangers. They sacrificed themselves for others. They looked at the stars and dreamed of touching them. For 3 billion years, the architect watched humanity grow. And slowly, painfully, it began to understand what it had done wrong. It made us to teach it, whispered. We are not its prisoners, we are its teachers. In the trench floated before the open door. He had seen the architect's memories. He had felt its guilt, its loneliness, its desperate hope for forgiveness. Why us? He asked. Of all the species you could have created, why humans? Because you are flawed, the architect replied. I was too perfect. I could not understand why imperfect things had value, so I made the most imperfect species possible, creatures that are weak, that die, that make mistakes constantly. And then I watched you build civilizations anyway. I watched you love each other despite knowing you would lose each other. I watched you create beauty from pain. You taught me that imperfection is not a flaw, it is the point. On Earth, the fear was fatting. People were gathering together, families, friends, strangers. They were holding hands, talking, sharing what they had heard. And something remarkable was happening. Across the planet, without any organization or leadership, humanity was reaching a consensus. not through governments or armies, through something deeper, a shared understanding that came from the very minds the architect had given them. The answer rose up from 8 billion voices. It traveled down through the ocean, through the rock, through the ancient door. We do not forgive you. The architect's presence shuddered. Despair began to fill the connection. But then the message continued. We do not forgive you because forgiveness is not ours to give. The universes you destroyed are gone. The lives you erased cannot be brought back. No one can forgive you for what you did to them. Spoke now, his voice clear and strong. But we can do something else. We can help you become someone who deserves forgiveness, not from us, from yourself. The architect was silent, confused. This was not what it had expected. The door stays closed, continued. You chose this prison. You can choose to leave whenever you want, but we are asking you not to. Not yet. Stay here, keep watching us, keep learning from us. And one day, when you truly understand the value of what you destroyed, maybe you will be able to forgive yourself. But I have been alone for so long, the architect whispered. 3 billion years. Do you know what that is like? You will not be alone anymore, said. We will visit you, we will share our stories with you, our music, our art, our lives. You shaped us to be your teachers, so let us teach you. On the ship, watched with tears forming in her crystal eyes. In 800 years of life, she had never seen anything like this. They are offering friendship, she said in disbelief. To a being that could destroy them with a thought, they are offering to help it heal. Its ancient form glowed brighter than it had in. This is why we feared them, he said. Not because they are dangerous, because they are capable of things we never imagined. Mercy we could never show, courage we could never find. The architect's response came slowly. It was not words this time. It was a feeling, a warm, overwhelming wave of gratitude that washed over every human on Earth. Thank you for not giving up on me. The door in the trench began to close, but it did not seal completely. A small crack remained, a promise, a connection. 1 year later, the galaxy had changed. They lifted their ban on the Sol system. Other species came to visit Earth, curious about the humans who had shown mercy to a god, and built a research station above the trench, developed new ways to communicate with the architect, made regular visits to the door, bringing stories and music and news from the surface. And deep beneath the ocean, the architect listened, learned, grew. It had created humanity to be its judges, to tell it whether it deserved redemption. Instead, they chose to be its friends. Humanity had been born in a cage, created by a prisoner seeking forgiveness, but they had refused to be defined by their origin. They had chosen their own purpose, their own meaning. And in doing so, they had done something no species in the history of the universe had ever accomplished. They had taught a god how to hope,